Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Bruce. I'm a marital and family law attorney in West Palm Beach, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Ivon Bhada, and she is a therapist in the West Palm Beach area. A lot of her work beyond working with couples and individuals is working with parents on parenting their kids and some strategies for redirecting children's behavior. And she does a fair amount of that in her private practice, but she also does a few seminars on a very regular basis in the South Florida area. And I just wanted to thank you for coming on, and maybe just introduce yourself briefly, tell people what you do, and then we'll get into the recorded presentation that we have with the office here.
Thank you, Chris. It is a pleasure to be here and to talk to a group of people who really think about the future of our children, and they also really think about how to help our children to grow to be responsible, to have high self-esteem, and really being compassionate team members in the society and in their own families. And I came to this passion through actually working in the field of psychotherapy and counseling for the past 18 years, and understanding self and others, helped me to also understand that as parents, we really need this kind of guidance and learning certain tools how to raise children, responsible children with high self-esteem. And that's what I do in addition to sitting in the office and helping people to have breakthroughs, either as a couple in their relationship or individually. I like to do workshops, like weekend workshops, and helping parents to become more confident and calm so they can really have a joy raising their families, because as we all know, the parenting is the job that will eventually end. Even if we will be moms and dads forever, in order to have influence on our children, it's very time limiting. So I kind of became an expert in teaching it, because I love to learn what I teach, or I teach what I love to learn.
Yeah, well, there we go. Well, without further ado, we'll have the recording, which we did just a few minutes before this with my office, and hope everybody finds it useful.
Yeah, thank you.
A question that we probably all want to know, that I'm sure is real simple to answer, is why do children misbehave? Like why does that happen in most circumstances?
Yeah. It's a question that every parent faces, or even if you're an uncle, aunt, step parent, teachers, it's a very frustrating moment. And by default, parents usually think that something wrong is with a child, something wrong there, or at the same time, or different feeling may come, I'm failing here, I'm not doing the right job here. But all misbehaviors of children are to communicate to us, especially some unmet needs, feelings that are confusing, and also something what they want and they don't have a language for. So good news is that it's not it. You are not a failing parent, or there's not something horribly wrong with them. They're just children who are trying to communicate to us needs that they have. And we have to become these translators, and we need to equip ourselves. And what it means is that to have courage, willingness to say, I don't know what to do, and I'm willing to learn, and the teacher will show up, I guarantee you. And from that humbling point, so much can be done. So your homes can be more peaceful places. You feel competent. And you know what? It's another gift comes with learning parenting is, because you will hear it from right and left. You will have to look closely at your self-care.
So It's and I think you're right before we started recording this. We were talking about with the children gems or genuine encounter moments. We even had a guinea pig picked out in the room for talking about it. But you know, what are those basically?
Yeah. Before I answer, I just want to give you a little number so you know, and it may sound a little extreme, but there's this Institute on Families, and they did some statistics, and maybe it's very average, but they came out with the number that the average American kid, or child in America, spends only 12 and a half minutes communicating with their parents. Perhaps it's not the weekend, maybe it's just weekday, and of course there are, you may have a different experience, but I was thinking about that number, and they say that 8 minutes from 12 and a half minutes, time they have with parents, is spent on parents telling them what to do, criticizing them even, demanding something from them, and telling them what to do, chores. So there are kind of like 4.5 minutes for teaching them values, helping them to feel good about themselves, feel some, helping them, teaching them to feel valuable, powerful, helping them with their emotions, teaching them responsibility, and I can name it. So you can see that somewhere there is a need, for every day, taking time to connect with your children, because if they are misbehaving, it's also a sign, that the emotional bank of your relationship is overdrafted. There wasn't enough given, put into their little hearts. So genuine encounter moment is 100% undivided attention to your child. When they're small, under teenage years, they actually they're relentless. They still are coming to us. And we, if we don't know about this responsiveness to them, we can miss out on a lot of connecting moments. When they become teenagers, we certainly need to put everything down, because they will be coming to us less and less. So I have a lovely volunteer here, and I'll just demonstrate. And it is Serena, right? Do you want to be my 7-year-old daughter?
Of course.
Okay, do that. So I'm in the kitchen, and the garden patio is right there. The door is open, and you're playing playfully, and you actually have a little butterfly that got on your hand, and you are coming to me to show me this beautiful creature. And I am first doing it in an effective way. Okay, I'm not doing gem first, right? I'm doing it in distracting way or in effective way. Okay.
Mommy, do you want to see my butterfly? I got a butterfly.
Let's see. I think they're flying from north or south. I think those are those special butterflies. They're here because they kind of.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Do you know how to spell it?
Butterfly?
Do you know how to spell butterfly?
I would think so.
Yes.
B.
Okay. So now we pause.
Okay.
How did you feel?
Like, I'm trying to show you this wonderful butterfly, and you're just busy doing something else. And he's so beautiful.
So there was a really a bid for connection, and I missed it.
Yes.
Completely missed it.
I feel like a real child might have been like, my butterfly.
Yeah.
And
But even you got nicely into a role, and you were like disappointed, like you were not getting it, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
So now we can do that what we call genuine encounter moment. And it can be any situation that the child comes to you with. You even after this exercise, you may even see You may even start paying more attention to their bids for connection. Okay, sounds good.
Oh, my butterfly here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mom, look at this butterfly. Isn't he pretty?
Oh, wow.
I caught him.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
What should I do with him now?
What do you want to do?
Well, I don't know. Let's keep him.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with him.
Okay, I'm gonna keep him. Thank you, Mom.
You look like you want to give me a hug, don't you?
I do.
Thank you.
You're my butterfly. I'm gonna go take him back where he came from.
How did you feel?
That one was more like, my mom thought this butterfly was awesome,
Mhm.
even though I'm not sure how I'm holding a butterfly.
Yeah, right.
Possibly, right. But no, that felt like more like a child would be like, this is the coolest thing I've ever showed my mom. And that's, yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and I had you to lead. Oh.
Okay.
I had you to lead it, right? To lead that, so because there might be a tendency that I'll take over, to be still present, but I'll tell you what to do with it, and I got on your level, I let all distraction go, because that experience is just like you really want to make it about them.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like when you are in the course, you actually practice that. So you can have just sort of feeling about it, and then you will practice it at home. You can practice it with your partners as well. It really works, and it is the number one, I would say, number one easy deposit that you can put into the bank of that relationship with your child. So this gem, for example, is just something that can prevent misbehaviors. Adds into the strength of relationships. So if you are going through something with your child and you are asking them to do something, the likelihood that they will do it is high. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Just close your eyes. Be 9 years old, or between 7 to 9 year old, and from the moment you wake up, I want you to listen to this. Wake up, put the clothes on, eat your breakfast, let's go, we'll be late, we have to go, are your shoes on? They come to school. Put your books on the table. Have lunch. Let's go to the breakfast. Do this, do that. They come home. Let's do homework. Shower, bathy, pajamas. Where's your pajamas? Okay, take a deep breath. Maybe it doesn't really go like that, but in some ways, and I reflect on that as well. I have days when I'm just barking orders because I forgot, or I am in forgetfulness, that every day is precious to teach them something. This is not exactly how I will earn cooperation. So that's the reason why we have to kind of learn how to speak to our children. So one of the questions was feelings. When they have strong emotions, for example, or when they show anger. So one of the things that you will look at is how to validate, listen very attentively, validate their feelings, stay with them, kind of hold space. And from that place, just having connecting conversation. So Amber, I think about you as your next volunteer. Would you be my volunteer? Yes?
There's no way I will do as good of a job as Serena did.
It's an interesting looking butterfly, by the way.
So if you're my child, and so this is we can use that example. Be my 11 years old and tell me that you don't think you can do this project, that you will be as good as Ashley.
I can't do this project. There's no way that I will do as good of a job as the other kid in my class will do.
What can you say to yourself? Can you say to yourself something different? Can you say something? What do you think that you can say to yourself that you will feel more encouraged about this project?
Maybe if you could help me.
You sound like you want help.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. What do you want me to do? Teach me.
Can you help me understand the instructions?
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. What are some other things when I help you to do the instructions? What are some of the strengths you have that you can do this project?
I can be creative.
Yeah. You are very creative. Yeah. So I will help you with instructions. Okay. And do you want me to be here when you will take over? Do you want me to be here, just to sit here when you get your creativity going?
Yes, I would like that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So let me just check these instructions. So I did it right away, kind of like how I would do it. But what did you notice as we went through this?
You were letting the child lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't take over, right? Yeah. So one of the things is that we actually changed what I wanted to also help you to change your self-talk without me telling you what to think. I asked you what would be something else to think. So if we continue in this conversation, then you could say to yourself, I am very creative as we go through this project. There are times that our children really need us to teach them something, like they cannot read the instructions well, or they never done the project, So it doesn't mean that we have to do it for them, or actually let them to be, just completely on their own. We can find out if they need us to be with them.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. When we start also paying attention to our children's, what they are saying about themselves, because by the age of around 7 years old, 8 years old, they will, I don't know if I got the numbers right, they will stop telling us. I think when they go to teenage years, but up until I would say 12 years old, they will still tell us, like Amber said, I don't think I'm as good as Ashley, or 4-year-old my son told me once, I'm ugly, He doesn't even know what it means, but again, to pay attention to it, and instead of just saying, no, you are not ugly, or you are great, you are good, just take a moment. It's such an opportunity to, again, for them, if you do it consistently, they will start thinking about, what they are thinking. It's just kind of almost, you teach them, redirect their own thinking. Yeah, what else is coming up for you?
I think one of the things that you had, and we may have talked about it in some of the materials that you had, there was a concept of loving your child in peace and contrasts to loving your child in torment, and that may have been a little bit about this gem moment stuff that we spoke about. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that even the best intentioned parents, you know, if they lose their peace, you know, they may start, you know, yelling at their children, or when they are stressed out, they may be very short and certainly not having enough energy to create safe, peaceful, secure environment for the children to, in any given day, kind of like thrive. So kids that when they are yelled at, they get scared. You know? When they are threatened, they get scared. You know, when they are, of course, the use of punishment has long-term negative consequences, that they may learn to lie, or they may become like overly compliant, like, you know, people pleasers. But the punishment is, no matter how people justify it, you know, psychologically and for their personality, has a lot of consequences. You know, well, as a couples therapist, you know, I can tell you that one of the consequences for kids going through being parented in a way that was a little gems, and even if there wasn't really abuse, but there was an expression of love, and there was just like punishment. You know, kids were afraid of their parents. Even the parents weren't bad people, but they were scared of the consequences, because the consequence was actually punishment. You know, so they may, not that everybody, but a lot of times they develop this insecure relationship style, and makes it much more difficult for them to feel peaceful in relationship. So it's very interesting. And again, this is not a blame game, you know, it's just to understanding self. You know, if your brain detected more fear than love, you were raised in torment, you know.
So how, I guess kind of following up on that, this is part of my confession as I read through about chapter 4 of the book, and I put it down and I haven't got back to it, but there was part of the book I thought very useful just in my own home about dealing with children as they're misbehaving, and the way that, you know, you address it in the moment, but then also over time try to, you know, teach the child to be responsible, to hopefully limit the instance of it happening. But maybe you could talk just a little bit about, I guess, practically for children who are misbehaving, what is the best way to approach dealing with it in a manner that does not instill a fear of punishment, but maybe more of respect and responsibility?
Yeah, nice question. I like it. Yes, we already kind of went through the kind of step one when we. I just kind of lost the train of thought.
We were, I guess I could say the question again. One of the questions I had coming off of what you were talking about with consequences of children who grow up kind of living in fear of punishment. What is the best way for us as parents when children are misbehaving to, I guess, to borrow the title of the book, redirect their behavior in a manner that teaches them how to do the right thing, and I guess respect us as parents, and not really live in fear of punishment? Yes.
So first of all, we have to identify, or in other words, diagnose what is the misbehavior. That was really the one of the gems or value I got from this course, taking it and teaching it. It's not just one misbehavior. First step we already took when we change our mindset and see that misbehavior is not bad child, you know. It's just the behavior that is telling us something. Step 2, we'll have to understand the goal of their misbehavior. So we kind of touched on it, but I'll give you 4 scenarios, and that's what I put it together also when I work with parents with adult misbehaving children. They are the same, they just look differently, right? But they are the same with the goal. So the goal is attention, that the child, for you to know that it's attention, you usually would feel annoyed. Our own feelings will tell you what is their goal, actually. We feel annoyed, we want to sort of correct them or telling them what to do or not to do, and because they can become kind of relentless. They are attention seeking, their goal is formulated like, this is, if I do this, I will get this, attention from my parents. Our job is to, when we identify their behaviors as attention seeking, is to do the right, redirection, and then when the scenario is over, then we'll find again the moment when everything is kind of peaceful and teach them how to ask for attention appropriately. Yeah. So, Ashley, do you want to meet your old college friend that you didn't see for 10 years?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. And who wants to be a little daughter? Maybe 3 years old daughter.
I'll be the daughter.
How old?
3.
3? I'll be the 3-year-old.
Okay. So see how it's gonna. Okay. And you can be her college friend, Chris.
College friend.
You can be her college.
Okay,
You
yeah.
didn't see. You can come here with me. Okay. They are in the living room. You said you haven't seen each other
Hi, how are you?
for 10 years, and your goal is attention.
Yes.
You need to get your mom's
Do I
attention. And for every second of your attention, they will be counting probably $1 for every attention. Okay?
How have you been?
I've been great. How are you doing? What's it like being a mother?
I know. I want to play with you.
Oh, we'll play in a while, sweetheart.
I want to play right now.
Right now?
Look, I'm my old college friend.
Right now.
You love toys.
I want to play with you and my toys.
Oh, my daughter's the same way.
Why don't you sit right here and I'll talk? So,
No, I want to play in my
yours.
room.
Then go to your room.
I want to play with you in my room.
You have plenty of toys in your room.
I want you to play with me and my toys
after
in
my
my
friend
room.
is gone.
No, I want to play with you now.
You earn $10. or if it's for seconds, so you earn
This is my life,
$40. So you learn, that you can interrupt your mom and you get what you want, right?
Yeah. Yeah, to disrupt the conversation.
So the attention is like other misbehavior. You redirect actually. You tell me how you redirect it. Can I be you, Ashley?
Of course.
Hey, Chris, I'm glad that you came.
Oh, it's great
Mama,
to see
I
you
wanna
and
play
your
with
daughter.
you.
Yeah.
Mama, I want to play with you.
I'm so happy that you came, that you
Listen to me.
You made it.
Mama, don't be busy.
You made it to us.
Ah, it's nice to be
Mama.
here. I see your
I
daughter
wanna
is
play with you.
more well behaved
Don't talk,
than mine.
Don't talk to your friend. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Mama.
Boy.
So, what did you notice? How did I redirect her?
It's not like you try to give her some attention. As she's seeking it, I guess.
Did you notice anything?
You're validating her by the physical touch, but not giving her, not talking to her, not disrupting your conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 things that's why it's, the other behaviors wouldn't fly like that, misbehavior. So this one is that you don't give eye contact and you don't talk, you know, and yet, see, there's just this energy, you know, that, and she just really naturally kind of left. And then I can teach her, maybe there was a teaching moment later when I tuck her in the bed that, you know, next time you can do it differently, you know. So that I didn't know these things, but it really does work, you know. So the other one is, just for the lack of time, I just want to cover all of them because it will give you a nice overview that not all misbehaviors are the same. You know, the other one that I'm very familiar with is power struggle. You know, and as the kids go into the age of 5, 6, you know, and they are outgoing, you know, whatever the personality, extrovert, they may really start testing your limits, you know, like with the toys, you know, with the time on media to spend, you know, a lot of different limits, when to eat, when to go to bed. So it's another kind of area. So with power struggles, what is important, what I learned is the best is to prevent them. So before they actually happen, again, it comes back to what can you do on a daily basis. You want them to follow through the limits, but you want to also have a certain agreements. So one of the agreement with the toys that and there may be different creative ways, but one of the ways I say, I approach my son and I say, we are going to Barnes & Noble, we are going to check very nice books and we'll spend there some time with friends, but can we agree that we are not going to buy anything, you know? So they are not in stress, whether I want, you know, they're peaceful, and make sure you get their agreement. You know, making agreements is an amazing thing. And maybe you are already doing it. I had not done it before I took the parenting class. So it's just such a tool. And once they agree, and they come to the store and they say, "Mommy, I want that." You know, you can remind them agreement. But can you help me? Can you help me remind me what we agreed on? You know, so if the emotional bank is full, you know, there's likely that they're going to just say, "Oh, okay, we did agree." If they are going into power struggle, it means that I will need to intervene, redirect it, you know. So what not to do is to start reasoning with them, negotiate with them, you know, getting frustrated. If you are getting frustrated, you know, you pretty much bet that you are in power struggle, you know. So then you can think about giving choices, you know, just do you want to stay without buying a present, or do you want to actually go home, you know, earlier? So they'll get a little confused, you know, like your job is not to kind of give in. So that would be redirecting power struggle. The best thing is to prevent them, you know, by having agreements, and then really experimenting as you are in them. You know, sometimes you have to go to the bathroom and take a deep breath to consciously step out of the power struggle. And then check your tone of voice. That should be sort of like soft and kind, but your tone of voice would be also firm by giving them choice. 2 other misbehaviors are may sound a little extreme, but they happen often. One would be what we call revenge. So in some ways, as the child is getting back at you, it doesn't have to be just you. It can be just that unavailable parent, you know, when they go through, when kids experience divorce, you know, they may be misbehavior because they are hurt and they're in pain, and they sometimes misbehave because they just not only trying to get back at you, they want you to hurt the way that they hurt. That's kind of their goal. So with that one, you know, in the course we really teach that it takes a little bit more time. Then you will have to sort of regulate your own emotions, not getting hurt yourself, you know, rather to go as far as give you an example that it would be, I can see that you are angry, you know, I bet you are angry, I would be too, if, you know, whatever they justify as their anger. And then you just get on their level and you connect with them, and you reflect and validate them until they tell you more, you know. So you're just with them, and that's the next thing you just, you know, try to ask them what do you think that can comfort you, you know, if they get into what hurts them. But if they're still pretty angry, you know, it's gonna be up to you if you can hold the space, you know, for that. If they are just angry but they are not acting out, you know, then you can probably comfort them by just staying with them. But do you have any question about it? Because that may be tricky. Because you may ask, like, what do you do if they are hurting you or someone, right? Then you just then we'll go to the next topic, which would be the discipline versus punishment. But it's when it's really like they are doing something really bad and you cannot redirect them, then you will just have to intervene with discipline. But that's a different topic.
Yeah, that's one. God, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, I just want to, and then I summarize, so you have this tool that you can kind of diagnose the misbehaving child behavior, rather think that it's all the same. The fourth one is what is called inadequacy. If you don't learn to redirect inadequacy, then you teach the child to be dependent on you. One day they will need to depend on someone else. And the example would be just someone like, they tell you they don't know how to put the shoes on, you know, and kids can test you like that. Even they know how to put shoes or socks on. So in that, when you start feeling that sense of responsibility that you have to do for them, or you feel sorry for them, that can be also a signal that they're coming kind of from that place of inadequacy, or I can do this, you will do it for me. So there is an opportunity for helping them to be more responsible, and you don't tie shoes for them, you know, but you just at the same time you can approach them differently when they're saying I can do that, you know. So you can come to the child and give them different kind of attention, basically, not doing it for them, and encourage them, you know, to do it, and walk away if they are waiting for you to do it for them. Yeah.
What if it's not like a physical inadequacy, but like an emotional one? Like you're trying to get the child to calm down, and the child tries to communicate to you, I can't calm down. Because I've had that happen before with my nephew.
Okay.
I'm telling him, you're angry, calm down. I can't, I'm trying, but I can't.
Yeah. So one of the things, because all kids will get angry and dysregulated and feeling like they can calm down, instead of timing out period, you can help them to create self-calming place. Of course, not in the midst of some temper tantrum, but you know, when things are calm, you know, you create, it doesn't have to be in their room, because if you are sending into their room, it may also send a signal. It's like time out, go away. I can deal with you. It doesn't have to be, you can help them, but take their lead. Where would you like it to be? So it can be a place where you can go, and I can go with you, and when we calm ourselves there, when we help him to bring some toys, or blocks. You find out, what do you think that is going to comfort you? Is there any toy that can give you that? Is there anything you would want to hold? Self-calming place for those who can read can be also can be a little bit on a piece of paper. What is a problem? How am I part of the problem, and how can I make up, for this? So that's one of the sequence, that it can be a place where when they can think about what's really happening here. But parents can go with the child to sit there, so it's not kind of a timeout. We have a little soft place, for my son to go, but we haven't used it really lately, because somehow, those kind of misbehavior, anger, are not so frequent. But when you teach your child self-calming, you show him, even when they are not upset, you do evening yoga, or you do some kind of meditation with them. And if they are open to it, it's so handy when they are really upset that they can do it. If they are not open to it, again, it will take a little bit more time to fill up that emotional bank of the relationship, that they will be cooperative.
One of the things I was curious about, and I think you and I spoke about a little bit, and my wife and I deal with, is kind of walking the line as a parent of loving your children, having fun with your children, the reason a lot of us really want to have them, and disciplining them or appropriately redirecting them in a manner that does not have them growing up with the fear of punishment you were talking about, and how as parents we try to, what is the best way to try to walk that line without feeling guilty.
Yes. So one of the, when I explained the self-calming place that is created during the calm time, during calm weather, but when the child knows that it is a place to go to calm down, that can be already one of the way how they are disciplined. But the results are different. The parent is calm, because the part of it that the parent is calm as well. If you say, go to your self-calming place and meditate, that really defeats its purpose. It is where you actually take a pause, you breathe from 1 to 10 or 10 to 0, and you take them slowly. If they are not going on their own, without the words, you take them, you even sit down with them, and you do just kind of like breathing with them, and you leave. The second part would be to understanding natural consequences. So for example, if I don't know what misbehavior you are referring to, but is it something that can you give me an example?
I guess one of the things, I'm trying to pick the right one. With one of our children, it's actually the youngest one, she will say to her brother, after he does something unintentionally, not nice, the boy's name's Russell, not nice, Russell, and then he in turn gets very upset, because he hinges a lot on words as a, I guess, very sensitive little boy, so then he'll start shouting back at her, not nice, Ruby, and then basically after a minute of two little kids that most of the time play with each other very nicely, are doing this, they're all screaming and crying, and then they become, very, I guess, non-responsive to their parents' instructions. And we'd really like to try to find a way to nicely keep them from doing that in a way to where we're not really being, you have a 3-year-old who just turned 3, you can take a 3-year-old daughter into the room and yell at her for, saying something mean to her brother. I mean, but at the same time, we can't have that continue and have that be their relationship with each other growing up. So I guess that might be one example. And I realize that involves 2 children, and it's not just the children and the parent, but we're not getting our daughter to stop doing it. It's starting to become upsetting a little bit.
Yeah, these are very tricky situations. Like you don't know exactly what to say, how to say. But I think the teaching moments there is that we can teach them conflict resolution with the focus on win-win situation. And the other thing is to say, beyond just I'm sorry, beyond just apology. So there are 2 things that we are looking at, especially where siblings rivalry, and fighting, but it can be also fights with the play date friend, So think about these things that really it's limitless to your creativity how you can do it. But as long you know direction, then because we all were there, what am I supposed to do? Just for your quick reference, just be siblings and fight for this toy, okay? First I will be ineffective, so everyone knows you're going.
Okay. So first, look, do you want to see my butterfly?
Mine!
No, it's mine.
Give me back my toy!
I had it
Guys,
first.
I'm tired of you fighting always. I'm done.
Your
I'm
fault.
taking it. So it was just really quick, ineffective way, and I don't know if I have done it, but I probably, it's so easy. Again, when my tank will be empty, this is what I would do, because we really are not even conscious or mindful. But for most part, parents like yourself and me, I want to be the conscious parent. Okay, so do it again. Be correct about
Look at what I found, butterfly.
Mine!
No, it's actually mine.
Mom, he took my doll! Or
Oh my gosh, it's a butterfly.
Oh, give it to
Now
me.
look what you did.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
How do you want to do this so you are both happy?
You can have it. I'll go find a new one. You can have the butterfly.
Okay, you can give it to him.
Okay.
So that was easy, guys. You were easy volunteers.
Yeah, I think my son or daughter would. Well, I want it.
So if they continue, again, it will not change right away. But
Yeah.
let's say that you calm down yourself, you go on their level, you just take a toy, of course, because that's the object of all the conflict, and you're just loving, and just think, how I wonder if you know how to make up with your brother and sister so you are both happy. I wonder if you have any ideas. When you put it, kids, especially the older one, they'll like to come up with ideas.
Really?
And experiment with that. But it's just for some time consistently, stop doing what you usually did, and see what happens. How can you both be happy? I wonder.
We can catch another butterfly.
She's a good team member. So it's and just explore the idea behind it. The next thing is about saying sorry. What we usually do, we tell Russell, we would tell Russell to Rosie, yeah?
Ruby, yes.
Ruby.
Good memory.
Russell, say sorry to your sister.
Yeah.
And say sarcastically. They can be sarcastic at 4. Sorry.
Oh, they are. Yeah, that's basically what I hear.
So this one is really tough. I have a 5-year-old that is not still really getting into it. Maybe I do it too fast with him, but it is just the formula, 3 steps. So not just tell them to sorry, but you kind of ask them, what do you think how it made your sister feel?
Yeah.
What do you think? And they usually give you the answer. Even it takes some time for them to feel it. What do you think? What do you think? Like even this scenario, what do you think how it made Rosie feel?
Yeah, probably made her feel angry or hurt, something like that, I guess.
Yeah, you are right. Do you feel like there's anything you can make up for her?
Give her the toy back or something like that, I guess.
And wait for don't give them the answers. There may not be answer in the beginning, but what do you think would happen if you do it consistently? It's just all of the sudden, because they are kids, they are just like sponges. All of the sudden, if they have a conflict at school, they may get this thing, because we want them to be empathetic when they leave the house at the age of 18. So this miraculous question, what do you think how it made her feel, can start planting that seed, So we teach them to do makeups. So we don't punish them for making a mistake, like a teenager made an agreement to take the dishes out, every night and they forget. So we don't criticize them for it, but we allow them to do makeup. So we can start as early as 5-year-old to give them a concept of making up, and it means that they are no bad brother, a bad person, but it means that they made a mistake and they can make up. That's a tremendous gift, for them. Yeah. So I think we kind of covered that. So it was the creating self-calming place, and parents should have that place as well. By the way, it may look differently as an adult. Maybe you have show them, model them. You have a little meditation Zen place, at home. It's tremendous way how to teach. The other one would be the conflict resolution. Natural consequences are those that for parents who tend to overprotect and overparent. If people have the tendency, that means that if your kid forgot the lunch, regularly forgets lunch for school and you always bring it, or you start nagging them to take the lunch, the best experience is, if it's not life-threatening, is to actually let go and not having their problem to be your problem. Think about it like when you start nagging, even with a child, their problem is your problem. When you do it with your partners, it's the same math. If you stop nagging, if you are quiet, they will have to experience the natural consequences. I cannot tell you how majority, 80% of those adult children with substance abuse problem, when they got together with parents, as a family, 80% of them, it didn't cause substance abuse. I'm just telling you what was common denominator was that the parents were overprotective. They could not let them, even now they were so afraid of them, dying of drugs, that they still could not let go and let them to experience natural consequences, which in early recovery means that they may not go to buy Starbucks, because that's not what they can afford, stuff like that. I hope it makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
But just this parenting tool and behavior has amazing impact on children moving forward.
So I guess maybe for the people who are watching this and anybody else who's in the room, if they're finding this might be helpful, how do you help people, how do you customize this stuff for parents, and maybe talk a little bit about the seminar that you have coming up and do on kind of a semi-regular basis.
Yeah, so the workshop, parenting workshop, is more as really very powerful coaching experience. It's not as much therapy, and there's no need to do therapy when this is something that we have to really learn, we have to experience. It's kind of like a workshop. And I will do few seminars like I have done just with you, just to motivate people, perhaps encourage them to take the course. Because when you take the course, then you have a reference to go to. You have your own experience, and you will be improving in that. Then after the course, you can sign up for. It's every other week you can be part of like a mastermind group for parents, and it's just something can help you personally, but also really marinate in these different tools and scenarios. Within 3 months, you may feel very confident and calm. So I do these workshops every 3 months. Then next coming January 18th, 19th, I will be doing it with the author of the workshop and the book, Kat Qualls. So we are really a great team together. I learned tremendously just doing it with her. And every 3 months I will offer it here in West Palm Beach, probably in my office. I think that's for this parenting course is what is coming up.
And I think we'll of course have on the video, once it's done, all your contact information up, but maybe just say for the people who end up listening to this, what's the best way to get in touch with you, probably your website, and like how, if they're hearing this and think that you might be of help, what's the process for them to get in touch?
Yeah, so my phone number is 561-287-0942. And website is therapywestpalmbeach.com, so that I don't have to spell it.
Pretty simple,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone is watching this perhaps, and I would say going through divorce can be a very tough life circumstance and adversity, and for parents, really hard time to go through. And if you are recovering from divorce or separation, and you are in that finally in that moment that you want to really invest into your mental, emotional, family life, that would be a good time to start your own recovery, and really learn, I would say, good habits of confident parents. You know, in a way that. Because divorce can undermines the parents' sense of trust in themselves, and so come along, and you will feel very confident especially after the workshop, which is so empowering.
Well, thank you very much.